Every year, the United States Air Force selects less than 1% of all candidates and allows them to sit in the cockpit of an F-15E. This is not an airline. This is a machine of war. And the price of a pilot's seat in the 494th Fighter Squadron Panthers is not just years of training, it is you. The person you were before your first flight will never come back. Level 1, Cadet. You are 18. You are holding a letter stamped with the seal of the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Your hands are not shaking. You don't let them shake. In 6 weeks, you will understand that this letter was not a reward. It was a ticket to the longest exam of your life. Basic cadet training starts at 5 o'clock in the morning. The air above the drill yard smells of ozone and fresh-cut grass, but you have no time to notice. The instructor is already screaming an inch from your ear, and you are counting push-ups even though you lost count long ago. You are a dually, a fourth-classman, a zero in the hierarchy. You carry your tray through Mitchell Hall dining facility at attention. You eat in square meals. Fork straight up, horizontal to the mouth, lower. Upperclassmen watch. This is not humiliation. This is a filter. The Academy is not testing your muscles or your intelligence. It is testing whether you will break when everything is pointless. 80% of your coursework is aerodynamics, tactics, physics, and the law of armed conflict. The other 20 is a quiet terror that a single note in your medical file could make the dream of an F-15E cockpit simply disappear. You are worth nothing to the system yet. Over 4 years, the Air Force will invest roughly $300,000 in you, and not a cent of your pay will cover that debt until you have flown your time. But you stay, because the sky is right there, above the drill yard, every evening, and you look up. Level 2, Pilot Training Student Undergraduate Pilot Training, Columbus, Mississippi, or Vance, Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. What matters is that the smell of jet fuel no longer washes out of your jacket no matter how many times you try. You fly the T-6 Texan II first, a turboprop trainer that forgives a little, then the T-38 Talon, a supersonic jet that forgives nothing. Your first solo, you are alone in the cockpit. The control tower is silent. The ground falls away, and in that moment you understand that every fear you felt before this was not real. This is the real one. Your instructor keeps a log of every mistake, a fraction of a second late on the flare before touchdown. Mark against you, lost spatial orientation for 5 seconds. Debrief after the flight. Pilot training lasts a year. Not everyone from your class will make it to the end. One guy will leave on his own. He'll say he realized this wasn't for him. You will respect him for that, but you will not understand it. Your salary is about $38,000 a year. The aircraft you are learning on costs $4 million. You will remember that imbalance. At the end comes track selection. The best will be assigned to fighters. You hold your breath. Your name is on the list. F-15 E Strike Eagle, 494th Fighter Squadron, Royal Air Force Base, Lakenheath, England. Panthers. Level 3, Wingman RAF, Lakenheath, Suffolk, England. October. The fog doesn't lift until noon. You are a wingman. Call sign Panther 2, or simply 2. You fly as the second aircraft in a 2-ship formation. Your job is to cover the lead, not get killed, and not screw up. The F-15 E Strike Eagle is not an aircraft. It is 36 tons of metal capable of carrying over 10,000 kilograms of weapons, accelerating to 2.5 times the speed of sound, and operating in any weather at night at extremely low altitudes. The cockpit smells of rubber oxygen mask and your own sweat. For the first 6 months, you are the new guy, the one nobody trusts yet with anything that matters. You sit through briefings without speaking. You study tactical manuals at night when everyone else is already asleep. During an exercise, you make an error on the entry point into the target area. The flight lead breaks it down at the debrief in front of the entire squadron. No malice. No mercy. The system is simple. Either you learn fast or you get reassigned. On combat sorties during European Command Alert duty, you fly with 2 laser-guided bombs under the wing and a full load of cannon ammunition. The target is a set of coordinates on the display. Somewhere down there, specific structures. You press the release button, the jet shudders slightly, you are already turning for home. You feel nothing. That is what frightens you most. Level 4, Flight, Lead, Captain. Flight, Lead. Now 2 covers you. That changes everything. At the pre-mission briefing, you draw the route on the map and explain to your wingman, a lieutenant with bright eyes, the departure point, the target, the egress route, and what to do if you get shot down. You say that last part without a pause. It is just an item on the checklist. Inside the 494th, you already know everyone by name and by their mistakes. You know which pilot freezes for 3 seconds before making a decision in a dynamic air situation. That is too long. You know who has problems at home, because you can read it in his concentration during the pre-flight briefing. Your salary has crossed 80,000. The jet under you costs 87 million. The squadron takes part in dispersal exercises, spreading aircraft across poorly equipped airfields, fast refueling, getting airborne in 20 minutes instead of the usual 2 hours. You command 4 aircraft. At night, through the radio, you hear the voices of your people. The connection is clear, but you know, if something goes wrong tomorrow, that will be your call, your name on the plan. The first time you lead a pair toward a real target and your wingman is waiting for your order, fingers on the trigger, you understand that fear is no longer yours alone. It has become collective. Level 5. Operations Officer. Operations Officer, Major. You no longer fly every day. You plan so that others can fly. Your desk is buried in papers, sortie schedules, readiness rosters, flight hour reports, engine maintenance requests. The 494th has roughly 24 pilots and 18 aircraft. You know the status of each one. Every pilot, every jet. When the order comes to maintain alert status, 2 aircraft armed, cruise within 15 minutes of takeoff, you distribute the shifts, accounting for who has flown how many hours, who has a medical check coming up, whose son was just born. You think like a machine, but feel like a human being. And that is your core problem. The internal politics of a squadron are not written in any regulation. They are an invisible web of understandings between the commander, the operations officer, and the senior captains. Who do you send on a temporary deployment to the Middle East? You know Matthew volunteered, but his wife just got a diagnosis. You send Javier. Javier smiles. You have no idea what he actually thinks. Late at night, after your 3rd whiskey, you go back to that strike 3 years ago when the bomb landed somewhere it was not supposed to. The investigation lasted 6 months. You were cleared, but you remember the coordinates. You will always remember the coordinates. Level 6 Squadron Commander. Squadron Commander, your name is above the door now. Lieutenant Colonel, you command the entire 494th Fighter Squadron. Pilots, maintenance crews, intelligence officers, support personnel. Roughly 300 people. The aircraft under your command are worth more than $1.5 billion combined. You barely fly anymore. A few hours a month to keep your qualification current. When you climb into the cockpit, for a few minutes you become yourself again. Then you land, and you become a rank again. Higher command presses down from above. Combat readiness must stay above 80%, flight hours must stay on schedule, incidents must stay at 0. British allies from the Royal Air Force are waiting on joint exercises. The Public Affairs Office wants an interview after the latest readiness drill. You sit in a meeting and listen to a colonel from headquarters explain why 3 of your aircraft cannot be redeployed to Romania. Budget cycle. You nod. Inside, you are calculating how many of your people will still be alive if that cycle drags on for a month at exactly the wrong moment. You are almost never home. Did you make it to your daughter's birthday this year? You think you did? Or was that last year? Level 7. Commander in Europe. Ramstein Air Base, Germany. The command bunker. 4 stars on the shoulder. Screens glow blue. Officers report in. Poland, Romania, the Baltics, the Black Sea Theater. You nod. Ask the questions you already know how to ask. 35 years ago, you were carrying a tray through the Academy dining hall and eating in square meals. Now you coordinate the entire NATO air component across the European and African theaters. Your decision to redeploy an air wing is not tactics. It is geopolitics. If you get it wrong, textbooks will be written about it. You do not fly. You cannot remember the last time you smelled a rubber oxygen mask. Sometimes at night, rarely, very rarely, you hear the sound of a turbine. But it is just an aircraft in the sky above the base. You look at the tactical map and you see dots. Blue, friendly. Red, threats. Somewhere in those blue dots is the 494th, your Panthers. You remember the names, the first few at least. You send them where there is no choice but to send them. Because this is your job. Because someone has to. Because you are the best of everyone who made it all the way through, and you are completely alone. He stands at the map. 4 stars. Ramstein, 2:40 in the morning. Somewhere out there, in the frozen sky above Eastern Europe, Panther flight is turning onto its attack heading. He hears the call signs over the radio, faint, like an echo. And for a second, one single second, he is 18 again. He's holding a letter with an eagle and a shield. He does not yet know what it means to receive an order that cannot be questioned. He does not yet know the price of a set of coordinates. He does not yet know who he will have to become to get here. Then the second ends. An officer reports, "Sir, aircraft on target." He nods. Not because he feels nothing, but because he learned long ago not to show it. Somewhere in this bunker, buried beneath years of commands, exercises, and briefings, is the boy with the letter. The key has been lost for a long time, but sometimes, only sometimes, he can hear him knocking from the inside. Want to see the inside of other elite air units around the world? Unfiltered? Subscribe before this information gets classified.